Most marriages will go through some form of infidelity. It will. With social media and people sliding it into people's DMs, people working and all of these things, yes, your marriage will face some kind of infidelity. Hello, beautiful lady. Yes, I am talking to you. It is Thursday, and you know what goes down here on Thursday. Wife Life with Dr. Gail goes down here on Thursday. So do me a huge favor. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and the little bell right next to it so you will know when I go live.
We're bringing sexy back. We're bringing sexy back.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up?
And so tonight, I want to talk to you about how to build intimacy when it has been lost. Now, let me just clarify something. Intimacy has absolutely nothing to do with sex, because there is a lot of people having sex that have no kind of intimacy. Intimacy is allowing someone in your personal space, especially your spouse. There are people that are living, that are having sex, but there are two ships passing in the night, and it's because they have begun to take each other for granted. So let's talk about how to build intimacy, because intimacy is truly the glue that will hold you guys together. If you can't have sex, facing financial devastation, the kids are running you crazy, that is the glue that literally holds your marriage together. Let's get started. Number one, you got to learn to be vulnerable in front of your spouse. Even if you have allowed them in your personal space and they have used it against you, even if they have said stuff that hurt your feelings, your spouse should be the closest person to you where you can literally just get not physically naked, but mentally naked, okay? That's hard, especially if you have been hurt, but we're talking about how to regain intimacy. So give it one more try. Be vulnerable. Allow them in your personal space. Allow them to see you cry. Allow them to see you laugh. Allow them to see you make mistakes. Allow them to see all of those things, because that's what brought you guys together in the first place when you were dating. I know you say, no, yes, it is. Whenever you're dating, that's when you're the most vulnerable, because you're trying to impress them. You're allowing them in your personal space. You guys are communicating like never before. You're open. So go back to that place. Number two, communicate. Communicate your needs, your wants, and your desires. You need to be able to communicate your needs, your wants, and your desires for you personally, and your needs, your wants, and your desires as a couple. Because if you don't have those things in common, your marriage is not going to work. It's not going to work. So you should have needs, wants, and desires as a person. He should have needs, wants, and desires as a person. And you guys should have them and meet somewhere in the middle together. Okay? Number three, come to a place of intention. Be intentional. We are so intentional about the type of job we want, about the type of car we want to drive, how many children we want to have, what kind of house we want, what decor we want, how we want our hair. We are so intentional about every area of our life. How come we're not intentional about being intimate with our spouses? How come we're not intentional about how we want our marriage to look and to thrive? How come we're not intentional about that? So be intentional about your intimacy. Be intentional about your sex. Be intentional about how you treat your spouse. Be intentional about how you show up for them on a daily basis. Be intentional, okay? Number four, focus on maintaining trust. Does every marriage go through something that make you step back and say, I don't know if I trust them. I don't know if I can trust them with this. Most marriages will go through some form of infidelity. It will. With social media and people sliding it into people's DMs, people working and all of these things, yes, your marriage will face some kind of infidelity. Even if it's just, you look cute today and he didn't mean to say it, or vice versa. It will. Be intentional about trusting each other. If you made a mistake, own up to it. Put something in place to keep you from doing that again. If you have decided to stay with that person, there is life after infidelity. Number five, Practice empathy. We are so empathetic against everything we see on social media, people we work with. We're empathetic towards everybody but the person we said we want to spend the rest of our life with. So be empathetic towards your spouse. Show them some grace. Number 6, find balance. Find balance to find intimacy. Some of us are living so imbalanced. We're all about making the dollar, impressing other people, living a life that's a lie. Find some balance where you take time to pour into your spouse, to pour into yourself, to pour into your marriage, to pour into your covenant. Find balance. Sometimes you can't say yes to everything. And I'm not speaking because I don't know about it. I was that person that I was putting everybody before Gail in my marriage. So find balance. Say no sometimes. And number 7, remain open to the possibilities. And what do I mean by that? If you practice empathy, you practice being intentional in your marriage, you practice being vulnerable, you practice and you focus in on trust. Let me just tell you, you can go back to that dating stage again. You can be intimate. That leads to amazing sex again. You just got to put in the work and you got to make it be intentional. Be intentional about walking up to your spouse and kissing them. Be intentional about giving your spouse a hug when they walk through the door. Be intentional about holding her hand. Be intentional about telling them how great they're doing. Be intentional every single day about pouring back into your marriage because you cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. I pray that this teaching has opened your eyes to realize how important intimacy is in your marriage. I love you guys to pieces. I am here every single Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you next week.